Across America, there are towns that dot the landscape like ghosts of a forgotten dream. These aren't the places you read about with feel-good comeback stories. These are the towns that time, industry, and the relentless march of progress left behind. Today, we're journeying into the heart of these forgotten communities, not to see ruins, but to hear the stories of the people who stayed. Take a drive down what's left of Main Street in so many of these places, and you'll see the same story etched into the brickwork. A grand old bank with boarded-up windows. A movie theater whose marquee has been blank for 40 years. A corner store with faded paint advertising a long-gone brand of soda. These buildings were once the bustling heart of a community, built with the promise of a prosperous future. They were filled with the sounds of commerce, of neighbors greeting each other, of children laughing on their way home from school. What happened? The story is often painfully simple. A single event, or a slow, grinding decline. For many, it was the closing of the local mine, the mill, or the factory. These weren't just jobs, they were the town's entire identity, the very reason it existed. When the whistle blew for the last time, it was a death knell. The young people, seeing no future, were the first to leave, seeking opportunities in the sprawling suburbs and distant cities. They packed up their hopes and dreams, leaving behind their childhood homes and the generations that came before them. Others were bypassed. Quite literally, the construction of the interstate highway system was a miracle of modern engineering, connecting the country like never before. But for the thousands of small towns that thrived along the old state routes, like the legendary Route 66, it was a catastrophe. Suddenly, the steady stream of travelers, tourists, and truckers that had sustained their diners, motels, and gas stations vanished. The traffic and the money was now just a blur on a 4-lane highway a few miles away. The towns withered, cut off from their economic lifeblood. But this isn't just a story of economic decline. It's a human story, and to understand it, you have to talk to the people who remained. They are the keepers of the flame, the living historians of a place everyone else has forgotten. Meet Earl, who's lived in his small West Virginia town for all of his 83 years. He remembers when the coal trains ran day and night, shaking the very foundations of his house. It was a sound of prosperity. Now, the tracks are rusted over, swallowed by weeds. He can still point out every single house on his street and tell you the name of the family who lived there. The Millers, the Jacksons, the Donovans. Most are gone now. The house is either empty or occupied by strangers he doesn't know. He sits on his porch, a silent witness to the slow erasure of his world. His memories the only things holding the town's history together. Then there's Maria, who runs the last open diner in a forgotten corner of the Texas Panhandle. Her grandfather opened it in 1952. She serves coffee to the handful of ranchers and the few remaining residents who come in more for the company than the food. She's had offers to sell, to move to a bigger city where her kids have settled, but she can't bring herself to do it. If I close, she says, polishing the counter worn smooth by generations of elbows, then it's really over. This place is the last thing holding us together. Her diner isn't just a business, it's a community center, a monument, and a final act of defiance against obsolescence. The landscape of these towns tells its own story. The high school, once a source of immense local pride, might now be a crumbling shell, its gymnasium floor warped by rain, the bleachers slowly rotting away. The team banners, celebrating championships from the 1960s and 70s, hang like faded funeral shrouds. These were the places where lifelong friendships were forged and first loves blossomed. Now, they are haunting reminders of a vibrant past and a future that never came to be. It is easy to look at these places and feel a sense of pity or to romanticize the decay. But that misses the point. The people who live here aren't relics. They possess a resilience that is hard to comprehend for those of us who live in a world of constant change and endless options. They stayed for a reason. For some, it was family. They couldn't leave behind aging parents or a piece of land that had been in their family for a century. For others, it was a profound sense of belonging, a connection to a place that runs deeper than economics. This is their home. Where would they go? And in these quiet places, a different kind of life persists. It's a life without traffic jams, without the constant pressure to consume and compete. It's a life where you know your neighbors, where a wave from a passing car is a genuine greeting, not a rare occurrence. There's a beauty in the stillness, in the starry nights unobstructed by city lights, in the sound of the wind rustling through the tall grass where a factory once stood. It's a simpler life, born of necessity, but one that holds its own unique value. The children growing up in these towns face a difficult choice. They are raised on stories of the good old days, surrounded by the evidence of a more prosperous time. They love their home, the freedom of the open spaces, the close-knit community, but they also see the lack of opportunity. The path forward often means leaving, a painful choice that perpetuates the cycle of decline. It's a heartbreaking paradox. To build a future for themselves, they must leave their past behind. We should not forget these towns. They are a vital part of the American story. They represent the risks and consequences of economic change. They remind us that for every story of growth and success, there is often a corresponding story of loss and decline somewhere else. The stories of their residents are not just tales of hardship. They are powerful testaments to human endurance, loyalty, and the deep, abiding need for a place to call home. Their legacy is a warning and a lesson. It prompts us to ask important questions. What do we owe to the communities that built this country? When an industry dies, what is our responsibility to the people left behind? As we chase the future, we must be careful not to completely erase the past, and more importantly, not to forget the people who still live within its long shadow. Their stories matter. Their lives matter. They are not just statistics in a story of economic trends. They are the heart and soul of forgotten America. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. If you found these stories as moving as we did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the hidden corners of our world. We'll see you next time.